As soon as the salary hits the account, there is a critical moment that almost nobody notices, but that determines whether your month will be one of growth or struggle. It's curious how everything happens in a matter of minutes, and yet it's in these minutes that you can completely change your financial future. Imagine the scenario. The phone vibrates, the long-awaited notification appears, deposit received. In that instant, many people don't even breathe before opening the banking app and barely notice that they're already entering automatic mode, that state where emotion decides before reason. In these first 10 minutes, the brain releases a sensation of relief and reward, as if it had finally received permission to do everything it had been desiring during the month. It's at this exact moment that the most dangerous impulses arise. Some start adding items to the virtual cart that have been sitting there for days. Others update food apps and order something special just for today. And there are those who remember some unmissable promotion that, in reality, will repeat itself next month. Almost everyone enters a cycle where money starts to go away before even being used with purpose. The detail is that this automatic behavior creates a domino effect. After these first minutes, the entire month becomes guided by choices made without awareness. Bills arrive, accounts appear, opportunities arise. But what should be available has already gone. And the worst part is that the person doesn't even know exactly where it went, because they spent without thinking, without observing, without choosing. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine that in these same 10 minutes, instead of following the impulse, you stop, take a deep breath and tell yourself, this money is not a green light for me to spend. It's a tool for me to build something bigger. When you change this mental switch, your first minutes transform into what they really are, a chance to organize the month and protect your future. In these few minutes, you take a simple but powerful action. You don't spend anything. You just observe. You look at the balance, mentally review your commitments, think about what you want for yourself in 8 weeks. This small gesture creates a type of silent discipline that separates those who build wealth from those who merely consume. When you control the first minutes, you control the entire month. And when you control the entire month, you control the year. This is where everything begins. There is a financial principle so powerful that when it's finally put into practice, it completely changes the way you view your money. It's the pay yourself first rule. And, as simple as it may seem, it's precisely this simplicity that transforms lives. It works like this. The moment the salary hits the account, before any bill, before any purchase, before any commitment, you choose to set aside a portion just for you, for your future, your goals, and your freedom. For most people, this sounds strange at first, because we were taught to do the opposite. We learned to pay everything and everyone first. Rent, groceries, cards, subscriptions, transportation, unexpected expenses, and only then, if anything is left over, save a little. But leaving it to save what's left over is like waiting to finish a banquet to see if there's still a piece of bread left. There's never anything left. And when there is, it's so little that it makes no difference. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine that in the first minutes after receiving your salary, you automatically transfer a fixed percentage. It doesn't matter if it's 5%, 10%, or even 20%, to a separate account. An account that you don't move, don't touch, don't mix with anything. This amount is your real salary, the invisible salary that works in silence, while the rest is just to keep daily life functioning. When you start paying yourself first, something very interesting happens. Your brain adapts. It realizes that the money available for the month is less and automatically adjusts your behavior. You start to think more before spending. You start to organize more carefully. You start to prioritize what really matters. Life doesn't get tight, it gets organized. And this difference changes everything. Setting aside a fixed percentage creates a powerful cumulative effect. In the beginning, it seems like little, But week after week, month after month, this habit builds a solid financial foundation. It's like planting seeds that at first are almost invisible, but that, over time, become trees that offer shade, fruits, and security. This money set aside before everything else is not a luxury, it's protection, it's dignity, it's future, and above all, it's proof that you're putting your financial life in control of your own hands. This is how transformation begins. You receive your salary, and before anything else, pay the most important person in this story, you. Before continuing to the next step, let me ask you something important. If this story is helping you see your money in a different way, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This makes all the difference so I can continue bringing content that truly transforms your financial life. Now then, when you create the habit of paying yourself first, something even deeper happens inside you. For the first time, you start to see yourself as a priority. This detail, which seems small, completely changes the relationship you have with your own money. It's as if suddenly you realize that you're not living just to put out fires, fulfill obligations, and survive until the end of the month. You realize you're building something. Imagine the feeling of opening the banking app a few weeks later and seeing that small percentage growing. At first, it might be a modest amount that could easily fit into some expense you would have made before without thinking. But now, it's there, firm, protected, growing silently like a wall being built brick by brick. And when you look at that, you realize it's not just about money. It's proof of discipline, of constancy, of care for yourself. And it's right there that the turnaround happens. When you feel in practice that you can save money every month, you break one of the biggest limiting beliefs that exists, the idea that it's not possible, that there's nothing left, that life is like this. No, it's not. Life only continues the same when you do everything the same. When you change the beginning of the month, the entire month changes with you. And here's a detail that few people notice. By setting aside a fixed percentage right at the beginning, you're not losing freedom. You're creating freedom. You're ensuring that your future doesn't depend on chance, crises, unexpected events, or the goodwill of others. It's independence built step by step in such a simple way that anyone can do it, but so powerful that few actually practice it. Over time, this habit becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. Just like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, or locking the door, setting aside a part for yourself becomes pure routine. And when you reach this level, wealth stops being a distant possibility and becomes a consequence of your behavior. And when did it all start? Back there, in that first move, in that instant when you decided you deserved to be paid before any bill. There is a type of wealth that's not born only from savings but from agility. And that's why those who really get rich don't save money just to protect themselves. They save to take advantage of opportunities that appear suddenly and disappear at the same speed. And here enters something that almost nobody does. Create an opportunity fund. This fund is not the emergency reserve. It's not to pay overdue bills. It's not to solve problems. It's to multiply. It exists for that moment when something appears that can accelerate your financial life, and you need to act fast. Imagine a simple situation. A friend of yours is selling equipment cheap because they need the money that same day. Or you find a valuable product for a much lower price than normal. Or a course appears that could raise your income, but the promotion lasts only a few hours. Or even a stock, a real estate fund, a cryptocurrency that drops in price and offers a great entry point. These opportunities appear, but only those who have money set aside and available at the moment take advantage. Most people see these chances passing right before their eyes, but do nothing because they're always tight, always at the limit, always with money tied up in bills or mixed with what's already committed. But those who have the opportunity fund are always prepared, even if the opportunity comes on an ordinary day, at a random time, or in the middle of the rush. And here's the secret. It doesn't need to be a lot of money. What matters is discipline. You start by putting a small part of what you set aside to pay yourself first. It can be $5, $20, $50 per week. The exact amount doesn't determine success. The habit determines it. Because the habit creates behavior, and behavior creates wealth. Over time, this fund sits there, quiet, waiting patiently. And when the opportunity appears, you don't hesitate. You don't need to think, calculate, ask for help, or regret. You simply act. And this quick action makes money grow like it would never grow sitting still in the account. This is how people who seem lucky really live. Luck is not coincidence. Luck is preparation. And the Opportunity Fund is precisely that. Financial preparation to grab what life offers, but that only the prepared can catch. There is a discrete power, almost invisible, that transforms ordinary people into financially secure people. The constancy of small weekly contributions. And when we talk about this, we're not talking about investing thousands of dollars. No, we're talking about something so simple and so accessible that it's surprising. Investing $20 per week. It seems like little, but it's precisely here that the magic lies. The amount doesn't enrich you immediately. The habit enriches you forever. Buying assets weekly creates an internal financial rhythm, like a heart that beats at the right pace. At first, you might not see much difference. The balance grows slowly, almost shyly, like a plant that has just sprouted. But just like a plant, this financial seed begins to create roots, discipline, consistency, long-term vision, and, above all, a sense of control over your own life. And when we talk about automatic assets, we talk about investments that work for you even when you're busy living your life. They can be stocks of solid US companies, ETFs like VOO, SPY or QQQ, funds that track the S&P 500, REITs that pay dividends every month, or even fractions of giant companies you admire. And here's the part that almost nobody understands. Wealth doesn't come from how much you invest in a single day, but from what you do repeatedly, week after week. The habit shapes your wealth and also shapes your mindset. Imagine the scene. Every Monday, before even starting the day, you open your investment app and put $20 into an index fund. It takes less than a minute. You don't even feel this money leaving because you learned to adjust your month to pay yourself first. And when you realize it, that 20 per week habit turns into $80 per month, $960 per year, and much more when the power of compound interest comes into play. And there's still an invisible but extremely powerful benefit. When you invest every week, you stop trying to predict the market, stop being afraid of drops, and stop falling into emotional traps. You simply continue, and those who continue always win in the long run. A simple habit, a small amount, a gigantic future. And it all starts with $20 per week. Imagine this challenge as a kind of financial detox. The goal is not just to save money, it's to reset your mind. For 8 weeks, just 8, you consciously decide not to make any purchase that wasn't planned. Nothing like grabbing that extra coffee just because you passed in front of a coffee shop. Nothing like adding something to the cart just because an irresistible ad appeared on Instagram. Nothing like buying because I deserve it, it's cheap, or it's on sale. And you know what happens? Something extraordinary. In the first week, you notice how accustomed you are to spending without thinking. It's almost automatic. Your finger goes to the Buy Now button before you even evaluate if you really need that. This moment is shocking for many people because it exposes how much consumption has become a reflex, not a choice. And when you start to hold back this impulse, your brain starts to wake up. In the second week, you notice that the money that used to disappear now starts to be left over. And this leftover is not small. It's constant. It's the $7 you would pay for a coffee, the $25 from that unnecessary Amazon purchase, the $12 extra on delivery, and the small amounts that never seemed important, but that together drained your entire month. In the third and fourth weeks, something even more valuable begins to emerge: mental clarity. You start to look at your purchases with different eyes, as if you were seeing everything for the first time. You discover that many things you thought you needed were just momentary desires that lasted a few minutes. And this clarity is liberating because you start to make purchases that really make sense, not those that only serve to fill voids or relieve stress. And then when you reach the fifth, sixth, and seventh week, something magical happens. You realize you've changed. The impulse decreases, self-control grows, and gradually you start to feel proud of each conscious choice you make. You discover that you're not forbidding yourself anything, you're strengthening yourself. When you finally reach the eighth week, you look back and realize that not only was there more money left over, but there was also more peace. And the best part, this extra money can now go to your weekly assets, to your opportunity fund, to your first investments. You created capital without earning more, just by stopping wasting. The 8-week challenge without impulsive purchases is not about sacrifice. It's about power of decision, power of control, power to build your future without letting small impulses steal big dreams. There is a simple but powerful truth: you don't need to give up pleasure, you just need to reposition it. Most people spend too much because they seek small comforts in the wrong place, at the wrong time, and, above all, without any planning. The result: the bank account suffers, and the feeling of well-being lasts a few minutes. When you start to replace expensive pleasures with planned pleasures, something surprising begins to happen. You continue living well, but now you live with intelligence. Imagine you have the habit of ordering food delivery 3 or 4 times a week. This easily exceeds $50, $60, sometimes more. And at the end of the month, this small pleasure has already consumed $200, $300, even $400 money that could be growing for you. Now imagine another scene. You decide you'll order delivery only once a week, but you'll choose the day in advance. This day becomes a special moment, almost a ritual. Instead of being something automatic, it becomes something appreciated. And on the other days, you plan simple, quick, and economical meals. You continue having pleasure, but now with awareness and without guilt. Another example, that $7 coffee you buy every day before work. On autopilot, it seems harmless. But when you add it up, it's more than $150 per month. And when you realize it, this money could have become a weekly contribution, an opportunity fund, a little piece of your future. Here enters the secret. Replace the daily expensive coffee with preparing your own coffee 3 or 4 days a week, and choose 1 or 2 days to have coffee at your favorite coffee shop. But choose that moment. Transform it into something special, planned, purposeful. Pleasure is not the problem. The problem is the lack of awareness. And when you start to exchange expensive pleasures for planned pleasures, some effects appear immediately. You save without feeling like you're losing something, because the pleasure is still there. It just changed form. You develop self-control. Your brain understands that you're in command, not the impulse. You feel lighter, because now each choice has a purpose. You free up money to invest, without working more, without earning more, just reorganizing habits. And the most interesting thing is that after a few weeks living like this, you realize that many things that before seemed necessary were just automatic habits that didn't bring real happiness. In the end, you're not cutting pleasures, you're expanding your awareness. And when awareness expands, money grows with it. One of the fastest and surprisingly simple ways to accelerate your financial life is transforming what you don't use into something you really need: capital to invest. And here's a truth that almost everyone ignores. All houses, without exception, are full of small, sleeping treasures, items sitting still, taking up space, gathering dust. But that could become money immediately. You don't realize it, but you're literally surrounded by opportunities. It could be that old tablet that still works, but that you haven't turned on in months. It could be a phone stored in a drawer because you switched to a newer model. It could be that camera you bought excited but used only twice. It could even be an extra TV, a bicycle sitting in the garage, a duplicate toolbox, old video games, brand-name clothes in great condition. In the United States, there are dozens of places where you can sell all this quickly. Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist, eBay, Mercari, and even local groups in your neighborhood. And the most interesting thing is that this process creates something that saved money doesn't create immediate sense of progress. Because when you sell something and receive $40, $80, $120, that becomes energy. It becomes motivation. It becomes real proof that you're doing something concrete for your financial freedom. And here's the most powerful psychological detail. The brain learns much faster when it sees immediate results. It's as if it said, "Wow, this works." And then you take this money and instead of spending, you do something almost nobody does. You transform this amount into your first extra contribution. You buy a small piece of an ETF, a REIT, a stock you studied, or even a fraction of large companies, since today everything can be bought for small amounts. And suddenly, something changes inside you. It's not just about selling something. It's not just about investing. It's about proving to yourself that you can create wealth from what you already have. The feeling is so strong, so transformative, that many start with one item. And suddenly, they're opening boxes, closets and drawers, looking for more things to convert into money. Because now, you're not just organizing the house, you're building your future, item by item. And it all starts with a simple decision. Sell what you don't use to finance the life you want. Have you noticed how our mind gets lost when it doesn't have a clear destination? It's like driving without GPS. You're moving, but you don't know where you're going. And financially, this is fatal. That's why those who get rich always have a target, even if small. And it's always visible. A simple, visual, and constant monthly financial goal changes everything. And here's the most important point. It can't be a complicated goal, impossible, full of incredible numbers. It has to be something your brain understands instantly. For example, I want to invest $150 this month. I want to save $50 per week. I want to end the month with $300 left over. I want to reduce my automatic expenses by $100. Simple, objective, tangible. And now comes the detail that transforms this goal into something really powerful. It needs to be visible every day. It can be a post-it stuck on the bathroom mirror. It can be a note on the refrigerator door. It can be a whiteboard behind the computer. It can be your phone's lock screen. The important thing is that your eyes see this goal frequently, because when the brain looks at something repeatedly, it starts to work automatically to achieve that. It adjusts choices, reduces impulses, increases focus, and creates micro-decisions that, added up, put you on the right path. And this process is almost magical. Without a goal, you spend as if money were infinite, until you realize too late that it's not. With a goal, you spend the entire month navigating with purpose. And you know the most incredible part? When the goal is simple and visible, you feel progress. And progress is addictive. At the end of a month, when you look and say, "I did it," something awakens inside you. You start to believe you can go further, that you can save more, that you can invest more, that you can grow, and grow fast. And here's the part few people understand. It's not the amount that changes your life, it's the feeling of control. A person with clear financial vision advances more in 1 month than someone without direction advances in an entire year. And all this starts with a simple monthly goal, simple enough to fit on a piece of paper, strong enough to change your future. And now that you've come this far, take a deep breath for a moment. Because if you really apply these steps, you're not just changing habits, you're changing the course of your financial life. Notice what just happened in this video. You learned to control impulses, to direct your money, to create goals, to form discipline, to remove saboteurs, and even to transform forgotten things into real capital to invest. This is not a small thing. This is what separates those who remain stuck in the same cycle every month from those who finally start to build real wealth. And perhaps this is the most important part. You don't need to be perfect to get rich. You just need to start. Start the way you can, with what you have, even if it's with $20 per week, even if it's selling something sitting still, even if it's cutting a single impulsive habit. Wealth is not a race. It's a process. It's consistency. It's respect for your future. And if you made it to the end of this video, it's because you have something most don't have: intention. And when intention joins the right action, life changes. So before you go, do something that really helps continue this work. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this today, and subscribe to the channel to receive the next videos that will help you build wealth with intelligence, awareness, and strategy. Thank you for staying until the end. Now it's up to you. Your future started today.